The woman lined up the latest sports car and designer watches before me, watching my ex-wife, decked out in glamorous attire, with her exquisite features and a siren-like figure, bend down in front of me. I couldn't help but notice the envious glances from passersby. I looked at her, a faint smile playing on my lips. Anything? My ex-wife nodded shyly. Then get the hell away from me. The memories surged back, and all the past hurt and pain from our time together washed over me. Around our 7th anniversary, she had bought a lot of baby products. When I asked her about them, she said it was a surprise and wouldn't let me know more. I acted along on the surface, but deep down, I had a pretty good idea what it was all about. Then, on our actual anniversary, I received a pregnancy test report and a video to go with it. It was sent to me by her best friend. The photo was of Vivian's pregnancy test report, and the video showed the Lin family's old house, where everyone was celebrating the upcoming arrival of the baby. She was gently holding her stomach, leaning against Ryan in a docile, sweet way. "Grandma, you can finally relax and focus on your health, right? You'll have a great grandchild soon." "Yes, Grandma will definitely take good care of herself." The old Mrs. Lin held both their hands and patted them gently. "It must be that, Ryan, and you are just perfect for each other. Your child is sure to be outstanding." They looked at each other, their eyes full of tenderness and affection. "Liam, your wife is pregnant." "Good to know." After replying, I closed the chat window and went on to my social media. Ryan posted a photo of them together, along with a picture of the pregnancy test. The comment section was full of blessings, saying they were a match made in heaven. Vivian finally got her happy ending. She finally got her true love. I forced a bitter smile and threw the roses in the trash. So, that was the surprise she was talking about. She didn't want me to get involved because it had nothing to do with me. I was just an outsider. Well, I should have remembered. She had always been cold to me throughout our 7 years of marriage. A short while ago, her grandmother had some health issues and was constantly talking about having a great-grandchild. Only then did she start being nicer to me and made sure to spend time with me every week as scheduled. However, every time, I would wake up in a daze with a terrible headache and the bed would be empty next to me. I never thought much of it. I just took it as an after effect. But now that I think about it, maybe it never even happened. She never really put her heart into it with me, neither for the marriage itself, nor when completing her mission. It was all surface level, no real depth. I should have realized it sooner. She didn't love me. I opened her chat box and sent her $3,000. The phone rang the next second. "What's with this sudden gesture? Do you think this little amount is enough? Where are you?" I could hear cheers on the other end of the line, and also Ryan's voice. She knew I could hear it, but still, she spoke in a slow, calm voice. "I'm working late." The noisy background faded into silence. She must have gone somewhere alone. "Vivian, let's get a divorce." She was infuriated, immediately snapping back. "I'm busy. I don't have time for your nonsense." I sneered. A pregnant woman should try to control her emotions. It's not good for the baby. I hung up, looking around me, and felt a wave of emptiness. I had loved Vivian deeply. I felt so honored to marry her, so I was extra kind to her. Her joy and sorrow were the most important things to me. For her smile, I once queued up for 2 hours in 40-degree weather just to get her favorite meat buns. I got heat stroke on the way back, but even though she didn't care, I kept doing it happily. But in this moment, I was awake and clear-headed. All that effort might bring results, but love wasn't one of them. I packed my things and left the prison I had confined myself in for the past 7 years. Back in my little place, I felt an unprecedented sense of freedom. I thought I wouldn't be able to sleep, but I slept soundly all night. The next day, I woke up to Vivian's call. "Liam, where are you?" "I'm starving. Why haven't you made breakfast?" She was always high and mighty, always treating me like this. We were married, but she always treated me like a servant, never understanding my feelings. I had got heat stroke in 40-degree weather trying to get her hot buns, and she had gotten angry at me because I was too weak to massage her afterwards. I had my own feelings too, but I didn't dare cause a fight with her, because I was afraid that she would leave me. Now, I'm just annoyed by her attitude. Liam, you said you'd fulfill all my wishes, and if you break your promise, you'll pay the price. Her blatant threats irritated me. I thought about the countless times I had given in, begging on my knees. It was all so ridiculous. Because I loved her, I was deceiving myself, believing that she and Ryan were innocent, that she loved me. I was weaving lies for myself, struggling through the pain. She ignored my pain, always acting superior, and I was sick and twisted enough to accept it, to even enjoy it. But now, I couldn't stay awake and continue to sink deeper. I went to work as usual, negotiating deals. That day, my colleagues told me there was a big deal waiting for me. I pushed open the door and saw Vivian. She gave a condescending smile and pushed a contract in front of me as if she was giving me a handout. Don't be upset, this is your compensation. She was in a professional suit, wearing flat shoes, her stomach slightly rounded, clearly pregnant. A project from the Lin Corporation would be enough to keep me at the top of sales for an entire year. I didn't want it. I took out a pre-printed divorce agreement. I actually have something to discuss with you. She raised an eyebrow. We can talk about your things later. Tonight is Ashley's birthday. Come with me. It was an order, not a request. She left after throwing down those words. I looked at the divorce papers. Fine. We could discuss it tonight. I put the contract away, not signing it. My colleagues wanted to gossip about my relationship with Vivian, but I managed to dodge them. After work, I took a cab to the address that Vivian had sent me. But at the door, I was stopped. Sir, please show me your invitation. I don't have one. The security guard looked at me with disdain. No invitation, no entry. Just then, Vivian's call came in, her voice impatient. Why aren't you here yet? You can't even handle a little thing like this? I don't have an invitation. She went silent, then whispered something to Ashley. Someone will pick you up soon. The line went dead. The one who came to pick me up was Ashley herself. She was dressed in an elaborate outfit with a tiara on her head. She looked at me with disdain. My invitations were all calculated per person. It's too late to make one extra now. She was mocking me. This is what she loved doing. I nodded. Being personally invited by the birthday girl is more meaningful than any invitation. I walked inside, and Ashley got even more annoyed because she couldn't upset me. She followed me, yelling, I only did it because you're pitiful. Your wife's pregnant after all. I didn't stop and kept walking, seeing Vivian and Ryan wearing matching outfits, surrounded by people and receiving blessings. She leaned into Ryan's arms, smiling and tender, something I had never seen before. His hand was gently caressing her belly. Such a loving couple. Vivian, I've brought him in for you. As soon as Ashley said that, everyone turned to look at us. They looked at me and smiled knowingly, their eyes full of mockery. The guests at the party were Ashley and Vivian's friends. In their eyes, Ryan and Vivian were meant to be together, and I was just the one who slipped through the cracks. They never thought that Vivian would end up with someone like me. Before, in order to please Vivian, I had endured the teasing and humiliation from her friends. I even tried to please them, which just resulted in more mockery. Now, I ignored them all and sat down in a corner. Liam, why are you hiding? You're late. Hurry up and drink 3 cups as punishment. A surge of anger welled up inside me. I said in a low voice, I'm not drinking tonight. I had always listened to them. My sudden rebellion caught them off guard. What's with your sudden tantrum? She was about to scold me, but Ryan calmed her down, saying it wasn't good for the baby if she got upset. She leaned into Ryan's arms. I almost forgot about that. They were being so lovey-dovey, and I was just an outsider, superfluous. The party started. Ashley walked to the stage and, after expressing her best wishes, cut the cake, made a wish, and looked at Vivian. Every birthday, I wish my best friend Vivian would quickly get together with her soulmate, and this year, it finally came true. Now she has a baby. That's just wonderful. Vivian smiled happily, leaning into Ryan's arms, a tender, womanly side that I had never seen before. The crowd started drinking. Ryan, don't drink too much. Vivian is pregnant. What if you get drunk and something goes wrong? Vivian laughed. It's fine if Ryan is happy. I trust him. I felt like a wad of cotton was blocking my throat, unable to swallow or spit out. I felt awful. Bitterness and helplessness crept onto my face, trying to act like nothing was wrong but failing miserably. Ryan, of course, would never miss a chance to mock me. Vivian, we should probably keep our distance for now. Your husband is still here. Vivian looked at me. Liam, Ryan and I are just friends. I've said this many times. Don't let your mind wander. Friends? What kind of friends would have each other's baby? And what kind of marriage was this? I had to drink on work occasions, and I was always alone, puking my guts out next to the toilet. I'd have to sleep on the cold floor and then have a fever the next day. She was completely oblivious to all of this. I told her I wasn't feeling well, and she had said, "You deserve it. What kind of man would go home drunk? Why didn't you just die out there?" From then on, I would always crawl back to bed, no matter how drunk I was. If she cared about me, she would be worried, not criticize me, just like she was now with Ryan. Ryan wrapped an arm around Vivian and looked at me. You're probably upset because of Vivian's baby, aren't you? Actually, it's... Vivian cut him off impatiently. Why are you explaining this to him? My uterus. It's my choice to do what I want. Liam, don't be so narrow-minded. Loving someone isn't about possession. Her words made it clear. I was just a nobody to her. The looks around me became more mocking, and I was nothing more than a clown. This kind of life was pointless and meaningless. I'm going to the bathroom. I stood up and started walking out. Ryan thought I was running away. He mocked me with a smug smile. Vivian, maybe you should explain the thing with the baby to him? It's not good if he misunderstands. Explain what? He'll come back like a good dog later. Her confident tone revealed her certainty that she had me in the palm of her hand. After using the bathroom, I was walking back when I heard the sound of laughter and jokes inside. Vivian, this country bumpkin you married is no good. We're already on the 8th floor here, and he's still worrying about the baby. He's so small-minded, just like a woman. If you ask me, Ryan is much more suitable for you, with his abilities and view on things. They were making fun of me so openly, and Ashley just laughed, having no intention of standing up for me. Ryan, it's your fault as well. You left Vivian, such a wonderful girl, and ran off to another country for some B*T. Right? Otherwise, how could Vivian be chased off by a toad like this one? So, it turned out that Ryan had abandoned Vivian for another woman, and despite all that, Vivian still waited for him. It was ridiculous. Both Vivian and I were someone else's backup. As if the atmosphere had reached a peak, the love in Ryan's eyes had become overwhelming. Vivian, I'm sorry for what I did. I came back to confirm how you feel. You're still... He didn't finish his sentence, but everyone understood what he meant. Vivian, if it wasn't for Liam, would you give me another chance? Vivian didn't say anything, just stared intently at him. But her eyes spoke more than 1,000 words. After a while, she nodded, and Ryan suddenly kissed her. Any remaining hope I had died then and there. I opened the door, interrupting the moment. The atmosphere dropped to freezing. They all looked at me, their eyes mocking, sure that I wouldn't dare rebel. Vivian pushed Ryan away and rushed toward me. Ryan just wiped his mouth in a meaningful way. Liam, it's not what you think. Let me explain. Her face was flushed, her eyes still lingering on him. I ignored her and walked up to Ryan. I have a gift for you. You'll need it when she's had the baby. I placed a whip in his hands. Everyone was shocked, and Ryan looked at me, confused. Vivian's face was dark with anger. She yelled at me. Liam, what are you doing? I put a finger to my lips. Sure, pregnant women should watch their emotions, don't want a miscarriage because of me. Ryan, she loves S&M, the forced scenes, so make sure you satisfy her, would you? I wish you 8 kids at once. 7 years of frustration, and I released it all in that instant. All the humility that came from giving all my sincerity, only to have it trampled on. I now give it back in double. Liam, you bastard. Vivian couldn't maintain her composure anymore. She rushed at me, but I grabbed her wrist and pushed her back into Ryan's arms. You're pregnant, so you better be careful and not mess things up. Her eyes were red. She questioned me angrily. Why are you doing this? Where do you think this leaves me? I was amused by her words. And what about you? You brought me to this place to be humiliated and ridiculed by all these people. And the things you've done these past 7 years, where did they leave me? Vivian, I see you clearly now. You're nothing more than a cold-hearted ingrate. You want to marry him and have a child, don't you? Then I will give you my blessing. The scene was chaotic, a big mess, filled with cursing and screaming. I turned a deaf ear to it all and patted Ryan on the shoulder. Since you like other people's used goods so much, then I'll let you have her. After saying that, I walked away, not looking back. In the following period, Vivian didn't contact me again. Even when I sent her the divorce agreement, she ignored it. But that was fine. The important thing was that I was finally living for myself. Life went back to normal, going to work, hanging out with colleagues, and getting drunk. I was happier than ever. I had previously only cared about Vivian. She was all I thought about. I was afraid she might be hungry, tired, or cold. Just a small thing could turn me into a crazy person, a nervous wreck filled with constant anxiety. But that wasn't who I used to be. I was energetic, positive, and optimistic. Love was supposed to enhance one's life, not drag one down. This relationship had dragged me into an abyss, and I was depressed every day. After throwing it away, I felt a sense of relief I had never felt before. I was clearly doing better without her. This went on for a month. I sent Vivian the divorce agreement every day, and I had gotten used to her ignoring them. Until this night, when she replied, "We can divorce, but face to face." Okay. I just wanted to get the divorce over with as soon as possible. Back at the old villa, I opened the door, the same decor as before. But it felt much emptier. "You're here." A voice came from upstairs. I looked up. Vivian was in her pajamas, hair messy, dark circles under her eyes, and holding a glass of red wine. It seemed that she had not been doing well these past few weeks. When I used to take care of her every day, she was radiant. She never looked like this. But now, I didn't feel sorry for her. I just felt like it was a farce. I handed her the divorce agreement. "Sign it. I don't want any of your money. Don't worry." She took it and smiled bitterly. "Liam, it's been a month. Don't you miss me? And then the first thing you want is a divorce." The times I was abandoned and the waves of longing I had for her were enough for a lifetime. She had severed my feelings with her own hands, and all that was left was coldness. I'm here for that. If we're not talking about the divorce, should we be catching up? But what was there to talk about between us? We were married for 7 years, but all her happy times were spent with Ryan. Thinking back only opened up old wounds and left me hurting alone. I would not be the clown anymore. Her eyes immediately turned red. The emotions in them were something I couldn't understand. In the month you were gone, I thought a lot. I reflected. These 7 years, I was wrong. I took your kindness for granted, thinking that no matter what, you would never leave, so I did whatever I wanted. It's all my fault. She was crying. I couldn't help feeling pity for her, but my expression remained calm. Does it mean anything to say this now? Liam, I'm so sorry. She hurriedly grabbed my hand, tears falling on the back of my hand. She seemed so afraid to lose me. Don't let's get a divorce, okay? I don't blame you for what happened at the birthday party. It's all my fault, I promise. I will treat you well from now on. People always realize the importance of something after losing it. But there were so few chances, so many what-ifs. What about Ryan? And what about the baby in your stomach? At this moment, she froze. She seemed to be struggling with her own feelings, and it was clear she was reluctant to let go of Ryan. After a while, she closed her eyes painfully, as if she had made up her mind. The baby is gone. I won't contact Ryan again from now on. I will only have you. Just then, her phone rang. It was Ryan. She had a specific ringtone for him. She looked at me with difficulty. I pulled my hand away. Answer it. As soon as I said that, she picked up. Okay, I'll be right there. Wait for me. After she finished speaking, she hung up and looked at me anxiously. Ryan had a car accident. His situation is critical. I'm very worried. Let's discuss the divorce tomorrow, okay? Although I don't know why she lost the baby, I had had a glimmer of hope for her. But now, that was all gone. Promises were just like loud farts, making a loud noise, but actually meaningless. I stopped her. Sign it, or you're not leaving today. Do you really want to push me to the edge? She glared at me. The remorse she had previously showed had turned into hatred. Sign it or not? She gritted her teeth, stared at me, her chest heaving up and down. Fine, I'll sign it. She snatched the agreement from my hand and signed it quickly. She threw it back to me, then ran out of the house and slammed the door. After completing the divorce procedures, I moved to another city. After that, I truly never heard from her again. Until today. A sudden phone call pulled me back to reality. It was my mother. Hello, son. Do you have any money left? Your grandmother's condition has worsened again. Mom, I do. I'll transfer some to you next week. After hanging up, I called Vivian again. Let's continue our cooperation. I could sell my company to pay for my grandma's treatment, but it wouldn't be so easy to get back on my feet. I can't joke around with the company's employees. If there was a better way, why shouldn't I choose it? I'm a businessman. I care about profit. To be fair, Vivian may not have good character, but she was definitely stunning, her face and skin flawless, and her body was made for modeling. At that moment, she was looking at me with a smile. You won't lose out working with me. I answered coldly, don't forget the agreed-upon 4%. I'll give you an extra percent. Do a good job. She pushed the documents into my arms and turned away gracefully. I was busy at work until almost the end of the day, finally able to take a break and get some water in the break room. The break room was the most active place, and they started chattering as soon as they saw me. Is this the boss that Ms. Lin had to partner with despite losing money? No wonder. You can't find looks like that even with a lantern. Some of my male colleagues walked over and put their arms around my shoulder. Dude, do you have a girlfriend? If you do, it's fine. Let me take you to have some fun tonight. A female colleague came closer. You guys are all bad influences. You're corrupting people. She winked at me. Handsome, let me introduce you to a girlfriend. She's 172 centimeters tall, has an hourglass figure, fair skin, pretty face. Do you like that? As she said that, she flipped her hair and struck a pose. Clearly, she was referring to herself. My colleagues here were very enthusiastic. I could handle all of this with my years of experience, but I really wasn't in the mood right now. I have a girlfriend, but I didn't expect them to let me off so easily. You're lying. You've been busy all day, and you didn't even accept my contact request on the messaging app. Clearly you're someone who doesn't check your messages often. There's no way you have a girlfriend. I smiled and took 2 steps back. I really do have a girlfriend. The girl's enthusiasm didn't waver. Why are you hiding? Is your girlfriend as pretty as me? Is her figure as good as mine? I had to bite the bullet and answer. Yes, she's prettier than you, and her figure is better. The girl froze, her eyebrows furrowed, glaring at me angrily. My male colleagues quickly tried to smooth things over. Stop it, Mia. You're the second most beautiful woman in our company. Besides Ms. Lin, I've never seen anyone prettier than her, or with a better figure. He smiled at me knowingly, then suddenly changed his tone. Maybe, your girlfriend is Ms. Lin? A look of shock washed over me. After all this time, I really didn't want to be involved with Vivian again. No. No? Then come drinking and flirting with us tonight? Mia grabbed my hand. No, he's mine tonight. Suddenly, the door was pushed open. Vivian walked in with a dark expression. He's not going anywhere tonight. He has to work late with me. Under their shocked and envious gaze, I was pulled back into the office by Vivian. Looking at her terrible expression, I said, I've already sorted out the information. I have to go to see my grandma tonight. I can't work late. She suddenly laughed, then stood up and got close to me. We were so close that just 1 millimeter away, we would have kissed. Okay, but don't let me catch you lying. If I see you with that girl tonight, I will kill you. A blatant threat, but I was not afraid. There's no need for me to lie, and besides, even if I do go and meet a woman, it shouldn't concern Ms. Lin, right? We're just business partners after all. After saying that, I quickly left, leaving Vivian alone and angry. After work, I rushed to the hospital. My grandma knew about me and Vivian. Her sickness was most likely due to our divorce. She was a traditional woman and believed that married couples should stay together no matter what, and that divorce was the end of the world. She was constantly thinking about it, which was why she got sick. My grandma's hospital room cost tens of thousands of dollars per day, and my company was new, so even if I sold it, it wouldn't help much. I could only borrow money, but after asking everyone I knew, I couldn't borrow a single cent. I smoked all night and couldn't sleep until the dawn. Suddenly, a tapping sound of high heels grabbed my attention. It was Vivian. "Didn't you quit smoking?" I did quit smoking, because Vivian didn't like it. When I was with her, I quit. "What are you doing here?" My voice was cold. She sat down beside me and snatched the cigarette to put it out. "I've already paid your grandma's hospital bill." I was stunned. I just stared at her, blankly. She got closer, smiling at me, her eyes filled with hope. "Do you have anything to say to me?" I looked away. "Thank you. I'll pay you back." The hope in her eyes was shattered into small pieces. She looked at me, hesitant to speak, then forced to smile and change the subject. "There are already rumors about me and you in the company." I waved my hand immediately, trying to distance myself from that situation. "That has nothing to do with me. It's all because of your stunt in the break room today. That's why they misunderstood. They probably watched too many dramas. There's no way a company president would be interested in a small-time employee. It's so ridiculous." She frowned, looking at me seriously. "Why not?" My brain crashed for a moment, unable to keep up with her thoughts. "What do you mean?" "I mean, the rumors could become reality." After she said that, she reached her hand out to me. Her words were serious, and those actions made me break out in a cold sweat. I quickly stood up and backed away, looking at her as if I had seen a ghost. "Ms. Lin, you must be very busy. I won't take up your time." She froze, her hand dropped awkwardly, and she got up. She walked a few steps, then suddenly turned her head. "Liam, after our divorce, I never contacted Ryan again." I knew what she wanted to say, but I really didn't want to go back to how we were, constantly worrying and crying every single day. I didn't answer. I just walked ahead and went back to my grandma's hospital room. Even though she hadn't got the response she wanted, she had tried her best for that relationship, and I was grateful for that. I was very clear that it was still the same exam, and I was still the one taking it. The exam had changed, and I had changed as well. I would give a different answer now. But I didn't have the courage to do it. Or, to put it another way, the exam I had been desperately begging for had changed, and I could probably get a perfect score, but it wasn't what I wanted anymore. Life continued as usual, going to work and back every day. I just treated Vivian as a normal business partner. One day, Vivian arranged for us to go on a business trip together. It was a necessary part of the project, so I agreed. We were staying at a hot spring resort where we were hosting our clients. After dinner, I went back to my room, feeling exhausted. I lay on the bed for half an hour when someone knocked on my door. Vivian came in, holding a bottle of red wine. She was wearing a thin nightgown. Her body was fuller and more charming than before. Her bare face was flawless. "Want a drink?" I smiled and nodded. The only way to forget was to get drunk. After a few glasses, she was starting to get tipsy. "Liam, that baby was Ryan and his wife's. His wife died in an accident. He wanted a child, so he asked for my help. There really wasn't anything between us." I was stunned. I hadn't expected this turn of events. "It's my fault. I should have told you earlier, so there wouldn't be this misunderstanding." She suddenly grabbed my hand. "Liam, I really missed you so much after you left. I only realized then that you're the one I love, but I couldn't find you or contact you. It was all my fault before, Liam. Can you give me another chance?" Her voice turned into a pleading tone as she looked at me. "The baby was just an excuse. You were actually looking forward to your relationship with Ryan rekindling, weren't you?" I called her out. Her expression became unnatural. "I didn't. I swear it was just..." She couldn't finish the sentence. She couldn't even convince herself. "It's too late. Let me walk you back to your room." "No." She grabbed my hand as if in a panic and pressed it against her heart. "Liam, You still love me, right? 7 years of relationship. How can you let go so easily? You promised you'd be with me forever. I looked at her calmly. But forever is too long. We're not going in the same direction anymore. She let go of my hand, her head dropping weakly. After the project ended, I received my money. My grandma recovered, and my company was on the rise. Everything was getting better. And Vivian had completely disappeared from my life after the project ended.